Hello there, Sagittarius. How are you? It is so good to see you again. I'm Mary Sue, and I'm so grateful that you're here. So today we're doing your May 2024 Tarot reading. We'll take a look first at the overall energy with the Oracle cards, and then we'll move to the Tarot for more details about any obstacles on your path or areas of resistance, and of course, any advice from the divine to help you to bring in what it is that your heart truly desires. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's see what's on the horizon for you. Distant thunder, clear the air, and a dog spirit. Be loyal to what you love. Okay. I like this energy, even though this can be a little bit, clearing the air is literally having a conversation with someone where you may need to clear the air between you and another person, right? And it could be an employer, it could be family, friend, romantic, it doesn't matter, but there's something that you're kind of like confining. You see how she's on a balcony? It's kind of interesting. They're showing me, you're like on this balcony, but you're being confined. You see the whole big world out there? She can see the world. She can see the horizon. She can see these mountains and this city and all of this stuff out there that she would like to go and visit, right? And yet she's stuck in the tower. Okay, she's stuck in the castle or wherever this person is, right? And there's something here that I feel like you're feeling like you're confined. And, perhaps that's a really nice castle. But if you don't really want to be in the castle, it doesn't matter how nice the castle is or all of the amenities, right, or the luxuries that might be in the castle. If it's not where you really want to be, then it's almost, like jail. It's like a prison cell. If that's not where you want to be, no matter how nice it is. And I feel like there's something here to be said about taking a look at where you are in life. So this could be your home. It could literally be your home. It could be a relationship that's keeping you feeling like you're tied or burdened to a certain family unit, okay, or a certain person or a group of people. It could also be a job that you go to every day, right? Something that you're feeling like, I want to be out here. I want to go and experience all this. But in order to get out there, you have to have some type of a conversation, right? You have to share your vulnerability. You have to open your heart and speak your truth. And that is why I love it with the dog spirit, because the dog spirit says, be loyal to what you love. And the first thing that should come up to your mind when you hear, be loyal to what you love, is being loyal to yourself. Being loyal to what you love and where you want to go and what you want to experience in this life. Whether or not, right? I mean, you literally could be in a really lovely environment, okay? It could be a very lovely environment. And you could even be sitting there and saying, well, a lot of people would love to be in my position, wherever that is. In fact, for some of you, you could be in a relationship where somebody's saying that to you, right? You could be, say, in a job and you kind of like are like, oh, I wish I could go out there. And you could have a coworker or even your boss that's like, do you know how many people would die to have the job you have or would give their right arm to live in the house you live in, right? But there's something here where you're understanding it is nice. I mean, it is nice. But it's not for you. And that's the energy I'm getting here, that you know that it's time to go in a different direction. But to do that, you have to get through some storm, right? You have to get through facing the thunder and the lightning. And that can be hard. For some of you, you may be thinking you want to leave a relationship, but that may mean a lot of conversations about separating or a divorce, the financial setbacks that they may have, right? Finding a new place to live, or maybe, finding a new job or whatever it is. It's kind of like, I feel like you're wanting to be loyal to you, to go in the direction that your heart truly desires. But you'll also know that it's going to impact other people, or other people are going to say, what are you doing? You're in this beautiful place, like, but that, I mean, that is the mindset of what people may say to you when they're trying to keep you in place. They don't want you to move on. Because if you move on, then their life changes too, right? Think about your boss. And if, your boss doesn't want you to leave, your boss may say, oh my goodness, so many people would love to have your job. And you're kind of like, okay, so, right? So they can have it or, whatever. But somebody's saying something to you in order to keep you where you are now. They don't want you to, otherwise there would be a ladder coming up to that balcony so you could get out. I feel like for some reason you emotionally or mentally feel like you are confined to whatever you are in. And it's not setting with you anymore. Yeah. So you have a milestone here on the on the underneath, right? You have something that you are really and truly wanting to go after. Whether this is financial security, a new career, a new job, a new relationship, a new home, whatever it is. It's like, no, wait a minute. There's so much more out there that I want to experience, that I can't experience when I'm in this castle. So I want to go out there. And I feel like you're wanting to do that, even creating a strategy. For some of you, I feel like you may be wanting, and this is only for a very small group of you, but some of you may be wanting to get out of the situation you're in now, okay, to go back to something that you had before. So you could be wanting to get out of a relationship, to go back to a relationship that you had previously, okay, and that ended, and maybe ended even a very long time ago. This is the yin yang. This is twin flame energy, where you could have separated from your twin and been separated for some time, have done this healing, have gotten yourself into a position that maybe is a very nice position, but it's not in alignment with what your heart knows is right for you. Now, once again, that's not all of you, but it is perhaps for some of you. For others, it could be that you literally have been on, and I'm going to say, I'm going to say for some of you, this could be like the whole time Pluto was in Capricorn. It could have been the last 15 years where you left something like back in 2008, 2009, and it could have been a career, it could have been a relationship, it could have been, a family setting or something like that. You left something and you've kind of been on this detour. You went on this detour, you went to a different career, you went to a different city, you had a different relationship. But that relationship or situation has come to an end. And for some of you, you are wanting to perhaps return to something that you had in the past. Really kind of interesting. I'm even going to say for some of you, you could have kind of left some type of a career or a position in a career, okay? And in order to allow yourself to gain more financial stability or whatever, because Pluto was in Capricorn, that is an energy of climbing the corporate ladder or, creating abundance, materialism, right? So the last 15 years, you could have put a lot of time and energy into creating the material world that you wanted. And look at, that princess there has the material world. Now, it doesn't have to be that you've created this material world, right? Or this life that looks good on the outside. There's something that you created over like the last 15 years that looks good from the outside to other people. But what you're recognizing now is it's not in alignment with what my heart really and truly desires. You kind of like have built something based on what other people told you, or you came to believe, or were conditioned to believe that you would want. You want this big beautiful castle, or you want, this lifestyle, or or you want to create your own business, something. But now you're recognizing, wait a minute, what I had before was maybe a little bit more in alignment with what my heart truly desires. It may not have been great, okay? But I stepped off the path and I went onto this detour. But don't worry about that. The detour has brought you a lot of insight and wisdom about yourself. And if you're trying to go back to something or parts of something. So I'll give you a really good example. I had a friend and she was just like so good at sales. Okay. I mean, she just really and truly was good at sales. She enjoyed it. She enjoyed the contact with the clients. She enjoyed helping the clients to get the products that they really and truly wanted. She loved the customer service aspect of it. She loved it. And she was the number one salesperson in a very big corporation, right? Because she was really good at it. She loved that. It was, once again, very heart driven, because even though she was building a lot of wealth and affluence for herself, right? It was that she just genuinely was good at it and enjoyed it. Well, then all of a sudden, the corporation was like, oh, well, we don't want you to be a salesperson anymore. We're going to make you a manager, or, the VP of sales, and you can oversee all of the salespeople, right? So that, so they, put her into this nice position. And of course she, took it, but she went into this nice position and they paid her well to do that position. But she completely, after like 5 years, she was like, what am I doing? She actually made more money in sales because of commissions. But more than that, she just didn't like being the supervisor of other people, right? She really enjoyed helping the client. And she actually asked to be demoted, if you will, and put back into sales because she enjoyed that aspect. So I'm just sharing that story because that could have something to do like with what you're thinking. It's kind of like, yeah, I got this upgrade, or I got some fancy house or whatever, or a new car, but now I'm kind of like understanding, wait a minute, I really liked the aspect of, or I liked who I was. Maybe you even like who you are or were more previously. And you're kind of like looking at it, right? And the reason is because whatever you may have had, and it doesn't mean you have to go exactly back to that person or exactly back to that job, right? But there's something that you're wanting to return to because it was very heart-centered, instead of being a little bit like strategic and money oriented. Because here's the thing, your present energy is you have the Hermit going within, having this insight and wisdom. And here's the thing, you have dark thoughts, and then you have the thinking woman in reverse, right? What you're understanding is that you may have made some decisions along the way, okay, that were based on fear instead of based on what your heart truly desires. So you made some decisions based on either what other people wanted you to do or what you were conditioned to believe you were supposed to want, right? Very much that Capricornian energy. And now what you're doing is you're going within. You're asking yourself, well, wait a minute, what is it that my heart truly desires? I don't really want to be in this castle. And maybe even some of you didn't make it into the castle, okay, or whatever the castle may represent to you. But you thought that that was what you wanted. Maybe you're starting to realize, wait a minute, rejection is God's protection. It's not really what I want. It's kind of like understanding or having more of a sense of, yes, I'm going after what my heart truly desires and not kind of like after the flashy. That's what they're saying, the flashy stuff. Really kind of interesting energy, because I feel like for some of you during the eclipses of April, and then we had the full moon in Scorpio, truly seeing what is really holding you back from what it is that your heart desires. And I think for some of you, you're kind of like, I'm in a life or a lifestyle that I don't really that does not align to what my heart truly desires. And it's time. It's kind of like, I think you want a fresh slate. It's kind of like, I want to clear the air. I want to clear the table. I want to have this fresh start, because your obstacle right now is, yeah, you have friends and colleagues, and then you have the angel of balance, and then the moon card. So the moon card is Pisces energy, but it's also that energy of being fearful of not knowing where the future lies, right? And once again, I think you're wanting a strategy. You're wanting to know, is this going to work out for me? But I think that that's part of it, is surrendering, understanding, okay, wait a minute. I have this wisdom from the past. I can rely on all of the insight and wisdom that I have gained here. And as long as I'm listening to my heart, I'm going to be okay. And I feel like that's part of it. You have the angel of balance trying to bring in balance in your life. And especially, between you and any relationships. I'm going to say not just friends and colleagues, but relationships in your life. When you're having this conversation, you're starting to be vulnerable. You're opening up, telling somebody or a group of people in your life what it is that your heart truly desires, which means that you may be leaving the life in one way or another that you have now in order to either go and find something new, or perhaps returning to something in the past. There is a strong energy here where some of you may actually be reuniting with a certain person from the past. And it could be romantic, but it could be even a family member or a friend that you haven't seen in a long time. It's almost an energy of recognizing that that person actually brought something to your life that maybe you perhaps didn't appreciate in the past. And, for some of you, I feel like it has been like that 15 years. This is the number 19. It can be 15 to 20 years ago that this happened. It could be like a high school sweetheart. It could be a college sweetheart, right? It could be, or a friend. It could be, I think for some of you, it could even be some type of a family member that you're wanting to reconnect to, because... And it could even be somebody that didn't want you to go on this path. And part of it is that having that conversation with that person about, okay, I went on this path and I learned all this stuff. There is no wrong decision, okay? So keeping in mind, I went on this path. I learned all this stuff, but I also learned what I really and truly love is something that you had in the past. It would be very much like somebody that grew up in a small town and decided to move to the big city, right? And has done that and then decides, no, wait a minute, I want to go back and live in the small city, right? Don't feel like there's any shame. I think you're concerned. How am I going to be received when I return? This is very much the hero's journey. So if you're not familiar with that, right, and Joseph Campbell and the hero's journey, this is very much that kind of energy of understanding that part of the process is going back and sharing the wisdom that you have learned and also what you have appreciated on the journey that you've been on. Okay, so let's see what your advice is here. Yeah, you've learned something. Page of Wands. It's good news. Okay, what you're doing is you're sharing the good news. Think of it that way. I think for some of you, there is this strong sense that you may feel like you've been a failure, or the experiment that you tried didn't work out, or something like that. But that's what you're being asked to take a look at, is that it isn't a failure. There's a strong sense that it's kind of like a recognition. You went on a learning, a discovery journey. Think of it that way, right? You went on this journey to learn more about yourself. And that is that's the thing to share with other people, whether it's you're returning to a group of people and sharing it, or you're sharing it with the world, like what you have discovered on this journey. Some of you may be thinking about starting like a podcast or writing a book or something like that about this journey of the last, like, once again, 15 to 20 years. Because you're understanding that all of it has helped you to open the door to personal healing and happiness. That your life is richer now for the journey that you went on, but that you're still, I feel like you're kind of wanting to go home. There's something about that, wanting to go home. And maybe for some of you, it's just that you want to go home and visit. It may be that you don't want to stay there, but maybe you've been away from home for so long that you're even kind of concerned about returning home. Yeah, I feel like you're kind of holding yourself back. Here you are. You have really and truly been on such a journey. You're not allowing yourself to see how this last 15 or 20 years has really helped you to step into knowing who you are, right? And it has given you a sense of confidence, charisma, just a sense of knowing yourself, confidence in yourself and your ability and what you are here to do, like really realigning yourself to your purpose, okay? But there's a part of this journey that you're kind of like, you're holding back, right? It's kind of like, I don't want to share that part of the journey. I'll talk about everything but that. It's very much like, no, but that little bit is the part that's really important. Because there's something in that little bit that has made you be the wise one. And it's taking you right to your 10 of Cups. But you have to share this little bit. Don't allow yourself to hold back. It's kind of like if you were going to meet up, go to a high school reunion or a college reunion, right? And you were going to see these friends and colleagues that you hadn't seen in a long time. And, sometimes if you haven't seen people in like 15 or 20 years, right? Everybody, tries to show up in their best and share their life in this glossy, thing. And it's kind of like, I feel as if part of you understands that where you are today is because of this part, right? Of what you had to learn about yourself. And this is the messy stuff, right? This could be a divorce. This could be a business that failed. This could be, a number of things, okay? Where you went on a path and you thought it was going to work out and it didn't work out. So you're kind of like, well, I learned a lot from that, right? You learned a lot from this experience, but I don't want to share it with anybody, right? I'm going to go to the reunion, but I'm not going to tell everybody that, yeah, I've had a divorce. I've had 2 divorces and I've had a failed business. But it's kind of like allowing yourself to share your story is what makes you so powerful. It makes you someone that is inspiring. I feel like for some of you, sharing your story is inspiration for other people. That's what it's about. Coming back, your hero's journey, coming back, being the wise one, sharing your journey, sharing what has happened, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and knowing that every bit of it has made you the Queen of Wands and the Hermit, right? Somebody that is inspiring. If we only tell the stories, it's kind of like people that have, like been very successful, but they also had several failures in their life, right? It's kind of like, it's even more inspiring that they came back from the failures or the setbacks, right? It wouldn't be that inspiring of a story if, yeah, they went out and, made it a ton of money and everything went smoothly, that would be kind of like a nice story, but it's not that magical. It's not that inspiring. It's kind of like, well, they got lucky. You didn't just get lucky here, right? I mean, you had some luck. We all have a little bit of luck on the way, but you worked hard, Sag, and it's about stepping into that power of knowing that the ugly, messy stuff in your story and that's been part of your journey is what is actually inspiring to other people. So it's kind of like flaunt it. It's kind of flaunt it. Don't hold it back. Flaunt it. Wow, powerful energy. I feel like you really are stepping into this energy of being a wise one and sharing. The hermit is a loving beacon of light, shares the wisdom in a loving way. It's, just allows other people to see the way forward, to have hope and inspiration that things are going to also work out for them. And even if things still haven't quite yet worked out, right? Even if you're kind of like, yeah, I'm getting ready to leave the castle and go in a new direction, knowing that when you surrender to that journey, yeah, there's going to be ups and downs. But that's part of the journey. And that's part of the beauty of who you are. Yeah. Really, kind of, it's kind of like, and I've said this, I don't know, I may have said this to you before, but there was this cartoon that I saw like 20 years ago, right? And it was a cartoon about a mom, right? And she had like 3 little kids, and I can't even remember the name of the cartoon. But anyway, it was all about their family, or whatever. And, like some 20-year-old comes, like a niece or something comes to visit, and she's all dolled up and looking so good. And, here's the mom, and she's got spit up on her and whatever, the hair's a mess, and she hasn't had her nails done in 100 years or whatever. And it's kind of like she looks at her, and then she looks at herself, and she says, yeah, I wouldn't trade it for anything. Right? She wouldn't trade who she is now to look like that again, right? It's kind of like enjoying where you are in life and knowing that, for the mom, the stretch marks and the messy hair, and she hasn't had a night's sleep in forever or whatever, tired all the time. It's kind of like, it doesn't matter. This is the life that I love because I have these 3 adorable kids, right? I'm living the life. I'm living the dream. And it's kind of like, I think that that's what you're kind of up against. Some of you may be comparing yourself or have somebody in your life that's comparing you to somebody else that maybe they look like they have it all going together. And you're kind of like, yeah, but I wouldn't trade where I am for that. And maybe you've even been in that, right? And you're kind of like, yeah, I wouldn't trade my life for that, for anything. Really kind of interesting. I'd love to hear in the comments how this kind of plays out for you, Sag, because it's kind of it's very deep, and since we had the full moon in Scorpio, I feel like you've kind of done a deep dive into your emotions about something. All right, let's pull a soul truth card for you. And Sagittarius, I do a personal reading, so if you're interested, the link is in the description box below. I even have a special up for May 2024, a special tarot reading. So if this one resonated with you and you'd like a personalized version, please check it out. I'd be honored to do a reading for you. All right, what risk can I take today? Yeah, I think the risk here is that you have to allow yourself to voice, right, or make changes so that you're back in alignment with what your heart truly desires. Be not mistaken, you will have to take bigger risks than you ever thought on this path towards your dreams. You will have to take the big scary leap, but do not fret because your soul has wings. Yeah. Just a really beautiful message about it's time to go after what your heart truly desires. And even if that means that you have to go back to something that you had previously. Really interesting message. All right, I'm going to leave it there. I wish you so much love and light. Thank you so much for all of your support by liking, commenting, and subscribing. And I hope to see you again really soon. Bye for now.